Tsunamis occur when the tectonic plates move or shear. This shearing will bring up a large portion of the seabed, and because the seabed is where the water once was, the water has no place to go but upwards. This is called displacement. After the water is displaced, gravity comes into effect. It pulls the water down, but because the area where the water once was has been filled in by a portion of the seabed, the water spreads outwards instead. It goes towards any piece of land near it, and as the waves near the shore, they get higher but slower than when in deep water, because the driving force of the tsunami moves through water rather than on top of it. In 2004, a tsunami hit the coast of the Indonesian city Banda Aceh. It was caused by a 3.9 magnitude earthquake along the Indian and Eurasian plates off the coast of Sumatra. This caused approximately 1,200 kilometers of the Earth's crust to move upwards. The waves hit the Indonesian islands Nicobar and Andaman first. Then about 10 minutes later, it hit Banda Aceh. Thailand and Sumatra were hit 2 hours later, and 7 hours later it hit Somalia. When a tsunami hits a building, there are two main forces in action that can severely damage it. There is shearing, because if the wave hits one part of the building, another part of the building will want to move. For every action, there is an opposite reaction. So if the wave were to hit the top of the building, the bottom of the building will want to move in the opposite direction of the top, because the building is fixed to the ground. Bending is also in effect, because when the wave hits the structure, there will be a lot of pressure put on it. And if the building or material is not strong enough, it will bend under the pressure. But most materials used in infrastructure, such as concrete, are not ductile, so they will break or give way under the force of the water. It's obvious that tsunamis take effect on the environment. They destroy the living places of several animals and rip trees from their roots. Tsunamis are responsible for the destruction of several small habitats such as forests or small masses of trees near the ocean and the ocean itself. The force of the tsunamis can bring up coral and send it inland along with the water. This destruction leaves fish, crustaceans, small mammals, and more without homes. And although there is very little we can do to save these animals, we can do something to save the lives of the people of Banda Aceh.
When tsunami occur, there will be a fast rushing water on the ground level, so people and objects will be washed away by the fast rushing water. To protect people from washing away, we have a sacrificial first floor in our skyscraper. Basically, it's an open space with no important room or office on the first floor so that water can run through easily. In this picture, this bottom part is sacrificial first floor. There's no important room or office, and it's an open space so that water can run through easily. According to Mosman Andrew, if there is an open space, the pressure of the water will divide. This can reduce the damage that tsunami will do to our skyscraper. This picture is made by Raskin J. When we are building the sacrificial first floor, we can make the corners of the pillars to face the shore so that when tsunami hit the corners, it will split the pressure of the water. According to Ratesteel, when tsunami hits the corner of the building, the pressure of the water splits in half, and it can reduce some damage to buildings. So in A, the area the tsunami is facing is larger than B. According to Bed of Nails' Cool Science experiment, if there are more area, you will need more pressure to make something happen. Tsunami will do more damage to A because in A there are more area than B, so it will need more pressure to make the water run through. In B, the area the tsunami is facing is only this corner, so the water will need less pressure to run through. This picture is from Tsunami Safe House. According to Tsunami Resistant Building PowerPoint presentation, if we build our skyscraper behind vegetations, it can slow down tsunami and tsunami will get weaker, and it can reduce some damage that it will do to our skyscraper. In Banda Aceh, there is very little amount of vegetation. So we are planning to implant some trees so that it can slow down tsunami and help Banda Aceh's environment. This picture is from China Daily. According to Mr. Webster Bryan, there are two scientific principles of force. They are bending and shearing. So our building has to bend and shear. For materials, I would suggest using lightweight composite concrete. This is a picture of lightweight composite concrete. As you can see in this picture, this material can bend, so it will be suitable for our skyscraper. According to MIT, this concrete can resist earthquake. So if this concrete can resist earthquakes, which means that this concrete can bend and shear, because when earthquake occurs, earthquake make buildings bend and shear. This can be a problem in low-income country because this material is quite expensive. According to Service Central, normal concrete will cost about 55 to 73 US dollars per square meter, and lightweight composite concrete will cost about 120 to 160 US dollars per square meter. So this can affect Indonesia's economy because lightweight composite concrete costs more than normal concrete, and Indonesia will have to use more money to build this skyscraper using this material. But if you use this material, the skyscraper in Indonesia will be resistant to tsunami even more, so it will be safer to make people go up to the skyscraper when tsunami occurs. This picture is from ECC. Work with our company to save people in Indonesia. TPA, Tsunami Protection Association. There is no life without TPA.